think we can all agree that DayZ has a difficult learning curve and that one simple mistake could quickly end your run. So today I'm going to count down 50 of the most common DayZ noob mistakes that you have most definitely made before. And in fact, I'm so confident that you have made one of these mistakes before that I'd like to challenge you to like the video down below, and if there isn't a mistake that you've made, you can always take it away. I think that's pretty fair. Hopefully we can all learn something and become better at surviving the harsh world of DayZ. So without further ado, let's get into our first mistake. Drinking from random containers that you find around the map, in bases or of other players. These can in fact make you sick. Always empty these out and refill them at the nearest well. And while on the subject, make sure that your bandages or rags are disinfected. Healing with items that haven't been disinfected may cause a blood infection, and this will quickly kill your character if you don't know what you're doing. You can disinfect bandages with the use of alcohol, iodine or disinfectant spray. Another mistake I see players make is not keeping their healing items in containers such as first aid kits, protector cases or cooking pots. These containers will protect your items from becoming damaged. And if you're not already aware, when disinfected items become damaged, it loses its disinfected status, so when possible, keep them in containers. It's usually a mistake to saw the barrel off a weapon. In most cases, the negatives outweigh the positives. Sawing off the barrel just causes the weapon to become less accurate and increases the recoil. The only acceptable use case for this is a shotgun, where a smaller profile may help in close quarter combat. And yes, while it does make the weapon smaller, allowing you to carry more, you really don't need to be carrying many weapons in your backpack. And this brings me on to my next point. You don't need to triple or quadruple carry, you only really need 2 weapons, one for long range and one for medium and close distances, and you can store both of these on the slots on your shoulder. And try not to triple carry, this is going to slow you down in the event of a firefight. There's little reason to value a two-handed weapon on your shoulder slot over a firearm. Smaller melee weapons, such as knives or even firearms, are more than capable enough for dealing with infected. Although I do think in most cases shooting infected is a mistake. Even with a suppressor, it's going to make noise, especially with the bullet cracking, which can alert more infected or more importantly, players. When possible, try to use melee, especially the stealth attack performed with the use of a one-handed melee weapon. Again, on the subject of noise, a big mistake a lot of players make is yelling over in-game chat, which can be heard up to 45 meters away by infected or other players. Remember, you can reduce this range to the normal distance or just to a whisper. Or a really common mistake I see people make is to try talk with a helmet on. This will muffle your voice to the point that you're barely audible. When hunting animals, try to use as few shots as possible. The more bullets you put into an animal, the less meat you'll get out. And when cooking these animals, try not to use fireplaces inside of a house. While this allows you to cook meat easier and quicker, it emits an obvious smoke from the chimney. And remember, the most important thing is survival. It's a lot safer to cook using a sharpened stick over a fire hidden away in the woods, or even better, a small shed. Remember to always repair your armor. Failing to do so is a mistake that puts you at a big disadvantage. Armor becomes ineffective when ruined, so the better condition we keep it in, the more shots it can take before it becomes ruined. You can repair both chest and head armor with the use of epoxy putty. Don't pick up face masks off other players. If they have the flu, this may pass it on to you. One of the stupidest ways to die in DayZ is drinking in deep water. This will cause you to drown, a silly mistake. The only other realistic way to drown is to try swimming with a broken leg, yet another stupid mistake. And it's a mistake to not carry pre-made splints. While they take up a decent amount of space in your inventory, it's very frustrating when you find yourself without one, having to crawl to the nearest bush to gather sticks. Just make it in advance, especially if you're playing solo. It could save you crucial minutes in a firefight. Don't open all your ammo boxes at once. While you should definitely have loose ammo in your inventory ready to reload in magazines, when possible you should keep any unnecessary ammo in its box, because if this box becomes damaged, it will still produce pristine bullets when opened. Again, you can open these boxes when you need kindling for a fire, as they will always drop a piece of paper. A mistake I see a lot of players make is not taking vitamins when their teammates have the flu. Even if they have just taken medication themselves, you can still catch it as it cures. Make sure to take vitamins to boost your immune system. In fact, I think underutilization of vitamins is a mistake a lot of DayZ players make. They are commonly available, so always take them. If it's cold, or if it's raining, or if you have to eat something raw or rotten, or just from an unknown source, always take a vitamin. It will increase your chances of not getting sick. A simple mistake is to not close doors behind you. These could gain you those few extra seconds that you'd need to survive an ambush. Remember to always ration food, as food will last twice as long if you only eat while on a yellow hunger. Although do remember that you can also ration too much food that it becomes a problem. Food will not perish while in your stomach, nor will it take up any inventory room. Prioritise eating vegetables, meat and opened cans of food first. When it comes to canned food, as long as it remains sealed, it'll be fine to eat any time. Do remember not to be foolish when it comes to opening said can. You can open cans with almost any melee weapon in the game. However, bigger, bulkier and blunter weapons will yield less food compared to more nimble tools such as a knife, with the can opener being the most effective. Never stand still, an obvious mistake I know, but probably the mistake that has ended most of your runs in DayZ. You just never know if there's a sniper watching or if that guy you just met is waiting for the perfect opportunity to betray you. A similar mistake is to get too comfortable in isolated areas of the map. It's pretty easy to let your guard down in the far corners of the map, but I can't stress how many times my runs have came to an end just because I got caught off guard in some random town on the edge of Chernerus. A common mistake is to not load all your magazines. Every available bullet you have should be loaded into a magazine if you have space. You'll quickly come to regret this if you find yourself with no available ammo in a firefight. And that brings me on to my next mistake, forgetting to chamber a gun before reloading. This allows you to have an extra shot, which may just save your life. Again, when you find a weapon, remember to check if the gun is chambered. Sometimes they spawn without a bullet in the chamber, but with a mag in the gun. To fix this, just rechamber the weapon, or perhaps you picked up a jammed weapon off a body and didn't notice. Again, remember to select the correct fire rate when picking up a weapon. The last thing you want to do is run into a firefight in single fire mode expecting to let out a burst of automatic fire. And if you've made it this far into the video, it would be a mistake not to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Try not to use large bags. While it's nice to have the extra storage, this mistake can limit your vision when looking behind you, and it's really important that you have your head on a swivel the entire time to increase your chances of survival. The last thing you want is someone creeping up in your blind spot. In addition, larger bags also make you stick out more. In my opinion, the best backpacks in the game are the hunting bag and improvised backpack, as they both have slim profiles and allow you to easily see behind yourself when sprinting. And you don't need to carry a lot of stuff. That's a common mistake, to just hoard. The more stuff you have, the heavier your character is, and the less stamina you'll have, which could just be used to sprint out of a sticky situation. And running it can sometimes be the best decision. It's a mistake to stick in a firefight where the odds are stuck against you. Sometimes the best thing to do is try and escape so that you can survive another day. Don't eat fat that you haven't harvested yourself. There's no way to tell between human fat and animal fat. And if you end up eating human fat, you'll obtain the incurable disease of Kuru. Sometimes I like to keep a bit of cooked human fat in my inventory to get revenge on any players that try to loot me. Be careful that you're loading the right ammo, especially with shotguns, where you could be mixing up lethal and non-lethal ammunition. Try not to double tap every player. When a player is unconscious, they'll always fall into this one same position. Learn this. You also may be able to see them breathing. Shooting a dead player will just further damage or ruin their gear, although having said this, if you do have any doubt, it's definitely worth the double tap. Don't cut up animals without gloves. This will give you bloody hands. Eating or drinking with bloody hands will cause you to get sick. If you find yourself in this position, you can clean your hands at a water source. If you don't happen to have any water, you can ask a teammate to feed you. In situations where you don't have gloves or water to clean your hands, you should consume everything else you think you'll need before you cut up the animal. One thing you want to be careful about in DayZ is fully sprinting downstairs, especially if there's an object on it. Don't repeat the same angles. Try to be creative, and when sniping, make sure you move after every shot, even if you're suppressed. Staying put will get you found and will get you killed. Try to not share water and food with people. If they are sick, this can also make you sick. Don't constantly sprint. If you sprint twice as often but for half the time, you'll always have a reserve of stamina in case of an emergency. Running along the road is a great way to get from town to town, but drastically increases your chances of being spotted. Always run in the tree lines parallel to the road. The biggest mistake new players make is to not make stashes. If you've killed a player or found some gear that you don't plan on taking, either hide it in a bush or bury it in a container. You can always come back to this later if you die. Remember to take your own blood when you are healthy. You can then use this on yourself if you lose a lot of blood in a firefight. And because it's your own, it doesn't have the chance of making you sick. Never wear bright colours. While your outfit might look cool, this could be the difference between being spotted or not. Greens, blacks and browns make the best camouflage. And don't underestimate the blaze. While it only has a capacity of 2 rounds, the fact that you can fire 2 consecutive shots, or even twice at once, makes it the most overpowered sniper in the game. Remember to always make and use tripwires, even if you don't have anything to attach to it. These are perfect when holding an entrance, as players will still perform a tripping animation if they trigger the trap. giving you a few extra seconds to get those vital shots off. Never sprint into these cabins. This is oddly specific, but bear traps spawn here a lot, and it is very common for players to place traps behind the doors when they don't intend on taking them. Don't forget to carry a gas mask, even if you have no intention on heading to the gas zone. This could just save your life if you're struck by a dynamic gas zone or if someone throws a POX grenade at you. And finally, never lock your base with blue dial code locks. These only have 1000 combinations, so can be brute forced in under 15 minutes. And that's it for today's video. Hopefully you all learned something new. If there was anything I missed, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, you'll probably like this one too.